Howdy folks, Jambareeqi here, and welcome to another episode of Jambareeqi Sandwich, the film and animation themed variety podcast show. Joining me is my co-host, Viva Becca.
Hello everyone.
Sound very solemn. Quite a somber intro. Like Wednesday Addams.
Hello!
What was that? That was disturbing because I've never heard that extremely happy side of you before. Anyway, so, what have you been watching recently, Viva?
Well, this episode I would like to talk about Beastars, which was recently released under the Netflix banner, and it's really not a show that I enjoyed very much.
Can you explain what it's about?
It is about society that is supposed to be similar to ours, except for they're all animals.
Why didn't you like it?
There's a couple reasons that I didn't like it. First of all, my biggest problem with the show and with other forms of media that try to do the same thing as what Beastars was doing, where they try and use their society that they've set up with animals to illustrate messages about the real world, especially around issues like race and classism, like what Beastars tries to do. I don't think it works because the world that they create is very different from the real world, and it just doesn't line up. For example, the differences between the animals are supposed to be treated like racial differences, but unlike in our world, in the Beastars world, the differences between animals are actually real biological differences in size, nutritional requirements, and psychology.
What would you say would need to be done to improve the show, in your opinion?
Write the characters with realistic motivations. That would be one thing. And maybe try and examine the logical framework surrounding your moral messaging in the program, and make sure that it makes sense in our world if you're going to port it over to our world, but also in the world of the show. Because in Beastars, the predators actually have to murder the prey animals, or they have a very strong instinct to do that. And it really just doesn't make sense that this society how does it hold together if they actually have to murder each other? It doesn't make sense.
And I know that this show is 3D animated, and anime has a very, iffy reputation when it comes to CGI. What did you think of the animation?
I thought the animation was okay to look at, especially for short periods of time. It doesn't make your eyes bleed. It has nice colors. I think the character designs are cool, but the characters don't look soft, even though they're supposed to be animals, and they move like taffy. So, that's something. Also, it's kind of weird how extreme the character design sizes are. I mean, I know they're supposed to be animals, but they walk around with creepy human bodies, and there's one of the main characters has a lot of sex with a lot of animals that are like many times bigger than she is, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. They try to animate it, it doesn't work. She's the same size as their goddamn penis. It's just...
Okay, so recently Bill and Ted Face the Music's trailer was released, and so everyone's pretty excited about that. And it made me kind of curious to think how well the first original film holds up, because it's like almost 30 or 31 years old now, and I think it holds up pretty damn well. This is a sci-fi comedy movie about two Californian teenage boys called Bill and Ted, who must pass their history reports, or one of them will be sent off to military school. Luckily for the two, a mysterious man from the future called Rufus appears in a foam box time machine. He informs them that they have to pass this history report or the entire fate of the future could change. Rufus agrees to help them by giving them a time machine themselves so that they can go and collect a bunch of historical figures to help with their report. It's more than your simple feel-good family entertainment movie. It has a lot of substance and merit to it. Bill and Ted themselves may be slow-witted, but they mean well, remain upbeat, and have a really wholesome friendship. We want them to pass their history exams so that they can stay together. They're also not flunking school out of laziness or apathy. They're just easily distracted and are more passionate about their music dreams. Once they start to learn how time travel works as well, they can be quite smart and inventive with it, showing that their experience has made them better appreciate the power of intellect. The time travel aspect is handled decently, with authentic or historical representations. As far as I know, I'm not a historian. The purpose of the adventure is mainly to learn history, but it also covers other educational fields like philosophy, politics, war, and psychology. It's not as family-friendly as I thought it was rewatching it. There's quite a lot of sex jokes there. That took me back a bit.
69, dude!
Yeah, I know. When I was a kid, that went over me, though. So when I rewatched it, I was like, oh, crap, this is a very sexual film. I never noticed before. And, like, they're always like, throwing, like, very mild profanity around. And, like, how did my parents allow me to watch this? The comedy may be quite dumb, but it's consistently laugh-out-loud hilarious because it's very self-aware of its stupidness and affectionately embraces it. And the thing is, I'm usually apprehensive when it comes to culture shock humor, but there's something really endearing about how curious and observant these historical characters are when they interact with the modern world. It's almost fascinating watching them in the present timeline. In addition, I adore the array of thoughtful messages that the movie gets across. It has a big heart and a desire to teach good. It tackles the abuse or neglect that Bill and Ted's parents express to help us sympathize with them and better understand why they are the way they are without ever getting too dark. They could have gone down that route. Mm-hmm. The historical figures develop a really charming bond with Bill and Ted, giving them the respect and support that their parents don't provide. Not to mention the character's motto, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes. I think that's a great way of encouraging compassion and a love for life. It's a very Californian kind of phrase, the way it's worded, but the what's underneath what they're trying to say means a lot. And I'll admit that the film is very much of its time, though. It's quite dated in some aspects. Like, the overall aesthetic really shows the film's age. A couple of jokes can be seen as kind of problematic in hindsight. A few female characters are given bland or unflattering roles, and there's not much diverse representation for the historical figures being showcased. Though, to be fair, the American education system has been criticised for that same problem. So yeah, the film hasn't aged perfectly. There are some things that will make you tug your collar. However, I still think it holds up really well as a piece of entertainment. Right, are you ready for news?
Yes, I'm ready for news.
So, the interesting thing is about the film industry currently. Everything live action, well, nearly everything live action, is getting delayed. Pushed back to either the summer, to the winter, to next year, to 2 more years. There's quite a lot of delays. But anything animated is just diving right in now. Everyone that's like working indoors for animated projects, they're having at it. The animation industry is flourishing right now. So most of the news we have to talk about is animated projects that are going full steam ahead. First of all, we've got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2, the sequel. It's been recently announced that they've started animating this film, just as soon as they've announced a PS5 game about Miles. It's just in time. So the first film ended showing that the characters found a way to safely cross dimensions, And I hope that the film makes imaginative use out of this fact and doesn't just stay in New York City only. Heck, this could mean that we get to see characters traveling to dimensions that completely challenge logic or reality, places that seem alien or surreal to Miles and his friends. What do you think of the idea of the whole cross-dimensional travel thing, Viva?
I think going to different places is fine. It would be cool if they went to a place that was like super out there and you thought it was this alien planet, but it was just a different version of New York. And there was a couple things that were kind of New York in there, because New York is so Spider-Man.
Very intricate to the spirit of Spidey. And the producer, Amy Pascal, has revealed that the movie will pick up on a story that was cut from the first movie, a growing romance between Miles and the alternate reality superhero version of Gwen Stacy. How do you feel about a Spider-Verse sequel tackling a love story?
I think it's fine. I think they could build a good relationship on the foundation that they built in the first movie. It just is really unoriginal and not an interesting plot line. And we've already had so many Spider-Man romance movies. I don't really think we need another one.
One thing I really admired about the first film is that it was quite ambiguous about their relationship. Like, it could go both ways, but it ended up being friendship.
It's interesting because they don't do that in the movies hardly ever, and now they're just going to go and do it. Do it.
I don't know, they could do something interesting with it. We don't know yet. They could. As long as it's not going to have the cliche Hollywood misunderstanding at the final act or something like that, I'm fine. What's also been announced is that there's going to be lots of new Spider-People characters that are going to be introduced. And what is interesting is that I went to research the whole list of all the different kinds of alternate reality Spider-Men or Spider-Women that are in the Marvel Comics, and it is huge. It is a massive list. You gotta remember that this is a comic book series that's like been going on for decades upon decades, so they've built so many different versions of the character. There's like Spider-Punk, Spider-UK, Cyborg Spider-Man, Astro Spider. There are so many different versions. The filmmakers have such a wide spectrum of choices, so they don't really have any excuse to say, oh, we had no ideas. You've got a gallery there. What kind of Spider-Person do you want to see in the sequel, Viva?
Having put a lot of thought into it, I would love to see meme Spider-Man from the 60s voiced by Viva Becker.
And like, he'll spend the entire film just pointing at everyone wherever he goes. He cannot put his arm down.
I don't think meme Spider-Man would be a good main character, or even supporting character. Cameo only, but it's gonna, I don't mind doing a favor for the film since I like the first one so much.
Any Sony producers listening? Any casting directors listening? Personally, I want to see a Spider-Person who sings and dances while fighting. Particularly if they look like a Disney character. And they just look really fluid and fabulous. Well, I like the idea that everyone is really focused on fighting, and there's this one Spider-Person that's like in a musical number and no one else is. That's what I'd love. My only fear is that we get a rehash sequel, but that's my feeling for every sequel. I just don't want this to be the exact same thing all over again. And I hope the film comes up with a villain that plays around with the whole multi-dimensional concept, but isn't just a repeat of what Kingpin was doing. Does something a little fresh, little new, so it doesn't feel like we're watching the same film again.
Worst case scenario, Miles gets something falls on his head the first scene, amnesia. And then Spider-Gwen has to help him rediscover himself, and that's how their love blossoms, and he goes through the same arc.
I'm getting Haruhi Suzumiya vibes now. This is scaring me. I think we should move on. I do not want to remember those 7 episodes. Okay, so the film is scheduled for release on the 7th of October 2022. Right, so the next news we're going to discuss is Studio Ghibli are going to be releasing a brand new film this year, which is a massive deal because they are constantly on and off again. So, like, you got Miyazaki's retiring, coming back. Ghibli themselves are like, oh. So, Ghibli are planning to release an animated film called Aya and the Witch this year. It's based on the book Earwig and the Witch by Diana Wynne Jones. It is being directed by Goro Miyazaki and supervised by Hayao Miyazaki. It tells the story of a young girl adopted by a witch named Bella Yaga, who gradually discovers the magical characteristics of her new environment. So, Viva, have you read the original Earwig and the Witch book?
No.
Right, so I'll be doing most of the talking. So I've listened to the audiobook, and I can say that it's a very strange story. Perfect for Ghibli. The whole thing is set in the witch's house, and it's all about the main character using spells or potions to outwit the witch. On the one hand, I can say the book is perfect for Ghibli. It has all the tropes you'd expect from them, and I can see why the Miyazakis were attracted to the story. On the other hand, you could argue the book is too reminiscent of Ghibli's work, which will mean that the studio won't be leaving their comfort zone and could end up rehashing elements we've seen many, many times from them before. I mean, we have a little girl learning to stand up to an abusive witch in a space secluded from society, just like Spirited Away. She has a talking cat in the vein of Gigi from Kiki's Delivery Service, things like that. Unless Ghibli makes some major changes, they could end up producing something too familiar. Another concern is that the film will be directed by Goro Miyazaki, the director of what many consider to be the worst Ghibli movie, Tales from Earthsea, and From Up on Poppy Hill, a Ghibli film that I thought was just okay at best. I want to give Goro a chance. Every director has their own career journey, but it's hard to be optimistic when he's not proved that he's in the same league as his dad yet. It'll be Ghibli's first ever CGI 3D feature ever. The studio is renowned for its hand-drawn animation, but they've dabbled with CGI before with such projects as Bora the Caterpillar and Ronya the Robber's Daughter. I've not seen either of these titles, but based on clips of both, you can tell that Ghibli are very new to 3D animation because there's something a little off about Ronya's characters. How do you feel about Ghibli going into 3D?
Why? Is what I think about it. Why do they need to do that? I don't know. I don't think it's a good choice for anyone.
To be fair, Miyazaki has been quite passionate about 3D for a few years now, so it's not like it was something thrusted upon him. He is genuinely into it. And there was a whole documentary about him producing Bora the Caterpillar called The Never-Ending Man, and I've seen clips and he looks really excited about it, which is kind of interesting because he's so passionate about traditional animation.
I don't care about Miyazaki. This is all about me.
Right, Veruca.
Great.
I want 2D. I want it now.
Yeah, let me know how many death threats I get for that comment.
Why do you hate computers, Viva? She's the Y2K book! But, out of everything to do with this project, I am very interested in seeing how the film handles a character from the book called the Mandrake. This is a very abstract, terrifying creature with a horde of demons. The way he's described in the book is honestly horrifying, and his minions sound just as disturbing. So I'm super curious to see what Ghibli will do with him visually. There's a lot to live up to. The thing is, I know that you want to dunk on this movie because it's setting out to do 3D instead of 2D, and yes, the film has its red flags. But at the same time, I feel starved from not having any new Ghibli movies. Would you look at my watch? It's time. It's trivia time. Trivia time.
For his role as Howard Ratner in Uncut Gems, actor Adam Sandler wore false teeth and a fake mole on his right cheek.
In the movie Snowpiercer, the protein block the characters ate was made from seaweed, tangle, sugar, and gelatin.
During the production of the musical film Grease, the cast ended up chewing about 100,000 pieces of bubblegum during the shoot, up to 5,000 pieces a day.
In 2012, Elton John revealed that his top choice to play himself in a biopic would be Justin Timberlake, who appeared in one of Elton's music videos. Timberlake was in talks to play Elton John in Rocket Man at first, but the role would eventually go to Taron Egerton.
In The Emperor's New Groove, Kronk's own hummed theme song was completely improvised by his voice actor Patrick Warburton.
Actress Carrie Fisher, who often worked as an uncredited script doctor for screenplays in Hollywood, actually contributed a few ideas to Don Bluth's Anastasia, playing a big part in helping develop the Journey to the Par sequence.
In the first draft for Pixar's A Bug's Life, Flick was originally a red ant called Red and performed for P.T. Flea's circus troupe.
In Disney's Wreck-It Ralph, the Sugar Rush racer Minty Zaki is an affectionate tribute to Studio Ghibli director Hayao Miyazaki.
John Candy has a small cameo role at the end of National Lampoon's Vacation, but despite how brief and minor his appearance was, he was paid $1 million to be in the film.
Okay, so in this episode's Cartoon Shake, we're going to be talking about the second episode of the Harley Quinn animated series called A High Bar. The episode follows Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy going to the Penguin's nephew's bar mitzvah, so that Harley can impress the Legion of Doom and become a member. While at the party, Kite Man tries to hit on Poison Ivy, but she turns him down, and he puts Ivy's pheromones on some teenage boys in revenge. These kids will be turned into trees unless they are given an antidote. Okay, so Viva, initial thoughts on the show and this episode?
I've known for a long time that the show is not to my taste, so if you're a fan of the show, know that going into my comments. But I found the show and the writing and what they did to the characters to be very insulting and poor taste and quite soulless, in my opinion. There are a lot of problems with the show, but just like an introductory example, all of the characters are basically in-name-only characters. They have nothing to do with what the character is actually like in the comic books. And I know that the characteristics do change a lot in the comic books, but there's always like a core that's kind of the same. That's like the idea of the character.
Like the principle of them.
So this is a show that at the beginning of the episode tries to tell us in as loud and blunt terms as possible that it's a very pro-woman woke kind of show. And yet, the character of Poison Ivy, Pamela Isley, has been completely changed from someone who actually likes plants to someone who does not like plants and considers them to be a death sentence if you turn into a plant, which is not what that anyone with the connection to the green like she has in everything would not think that plants were dead. So I don't get that. And they also seriously change and nerf her power so that it's weaker and it makes people sexually harass her. And in the show, they make it so that the delivery method of her pheromone antidote means that she is unwillingly forced to kiss 4 boys, 4 men, whatever, 4 guys that she does not want to kiss, when in the comic book she's this strong character who literally designed all of her pheromones. She made them. She can obviously change how they're delivered, and they don't make people sexually harass her in the comic books, so the change is very not feminist and kind of concerning and kind of insulting to the character and to women and people with a brain.
So before I say anything, I have to be completely upfront and say I'm not a comic book fan. So a lot of problems you have I can respect, but I can't connect to because I don't have the same association. I've watched the first episode, the episode that came before this. I found it to be pretty hilarious. Each joke landed with a bang for me, and the premise it set up for future episodes seemed like fun. However, I wasn't impressed with this episode. It was way less funny this time, hardly any joke landed, and there weren't any gags or lines that got a big laugh out of me. It was like the comedic rhythm of the first episode was completely absent. I also thought the episode was way too overplotted. Too much was going on. You have Harley trying to impress the Legion of Doom. You have the Penguin hosting a bar mitzvah. You have Kite Man hitting on Poison Ivy constantly, and Ivy herself attempting to find an antidote for the kids that that Kite Man has poisoned. Too much is going on, and the end result is more frantic than fun. So for those reasons, I couldn't get into it.
Okay. As not a fan of the comic books, can we still agree that it doesn't make sense that this version of the Joker is obsessed with contracts and rules and fine print and is annoyed by the fact that he answers his phone with a joke every time? I mean, come on, the guy's name is the Joker. He wears clown makeup and a clown outfit every day. You think this guy's gonna be like, oh, who cares? When he answers his phone, like, that's so not his character.
Yeah, I definitely get what you mean. I think the major issue is that everything is catering to the sitcom formula. It's all about putting each character into, like, an office or family trope from a sitcom. So, I understand what you mean there.
How are you?
Fine. Why wouldn't I be?
Because Harley dumped you. Yeah.
People are saying that Harley dumped me? Please! You know what? I don't even care.
Why use these characters then? You know? Why slaughter these characters so that you can put them into the script that you wrote without these characters in mind? Because this seems like a stock, very basic script. The humor and the writing style and even some of the performance notes felt very standard to me. I mean, trendy, but standard. Like, it seemed like kind of a low-grade version of Venture, like the Venture Brothers kind of thing. And it really didn't seem like they wrote it for this universe or for these characters. It only seems like they have these characters slapped on it for money. They're like, oh, people saw the Harley Quinn movie. Let's force these characters in so we can make some money. I was not impressed with the fact that none of the 3 female characters that were in it supported the other female characters in anything. There's the one moment at the end, but I mean, that's like, it kind of had to happen for the story. I mean, the internal logic of these female characters is they don't support each other in anything. I was kind of annoyed that Kite Man, who was a sexual harasser throughout the entire episode, was very easily forgiven by the show because he's just like, oh, sorry, I don't talk to women very often. That's not an excuse to be a sexual harasser. And the show forgives him. And it rubs me the wrong way, especially when the show starts out with the lines, you're a strong, independent woman who don't need no man. And they literally say that. And the whole way that this universe is set up, the characters interact with each other, like completely forgetting what characters they're supposed to be. It's obviously not a very feminist show.
Time for the show to come to a close, as me and Viva have a final showdown in a mega challenge.
Mega Challenge!
In this episode's Mega Challenge, we will be playing All the Colours of the Frame, a game in which one player asks the other player to remember the colour or colours of something in a movie. If a player guesses correct the first time, they get a gold coin, which is worth $1. If they guess correct the second time, they get a silver coin, which is worth 50 cents. If a player fails to guess twice, then they win nothing at all. The player who scores the most cash by the end is the winner of this month's Mega Challenge. Full disclosure though, no real money is at stake here, it's just mock cash for fun.
They have to be fair things. They can't be like, what was the left shoe of this random extra? And they have to be pretty basic colors. They can't be really, really periwinkle.
Pretentious.
Yeah.
Marshmallow white.
Mine are from Disney animated movies.
And mine are from any movie at all.
You're asking me first because it's my challenge.
Oh,
And I get
okay.
to
So
choose.
my first question for you is, in the Star Wars prequels, what color is Mace Windu's lightsaber?
Purple.
Correct.
Because Samuel L. Jackson is like awesome and he's like, I want a purple one.
Yeah. I think Sam is the only one that can actually get away with that.
Okay, your first one is in the Cinderella animated 2D movie, what color is Cinderella's dress? Her ball dress that she gets from the fairy godmother, not like her other one.
Yeah. Oh, the white?
Oh yes, very good. It is white. Very good. A lot of people think it's blue. But it's not. It's silver and white.
Mm-hmm. Okay, your next one is, and I tried to throw you off with this one, what colors are the Goblin King's eyes in Labyrinth?
I don't know, like yellow? Like gold? Goldy yellow,
So
like
your first guess is yellow and gold. Incorrect.
Dang it! Is one of them brown and one of them like blue?
Correct. That's a great guess. The only reason is because that is David Bowie's natural eyes.
Yeah, I guess that because I remember from the Prestige, that's what they had Tesla have because it's David Bowie. What color is Tiana's engagement ring in Princess and the Frog?
Oh, isn't it like a flower, isn't it? I think because like he's...
Say the color.
Yeah! Alright, calm down, you rainbow psycho.
You sound like a really scary art teacher right now.
You're if you get this, you're gonna be ahead anyway because I didn't get the last one.
Okay, is it pink?
No.
Is it red?
No.
Damn it.
It's a Mardi Gras bead, and it's a gold wire with a white. People say pearl, but it was on a Mardi Gras necklace, so I assume it's like a plastic little bead. That's white.
Right. Okay. Fair
Great.
enough. Right. Yours is, in The Nightmare Before Christmas, what is the colour of Zero the dog's nose?
Nose? Did you say?
Nose?
It's It's like. Okay, I'm just gonna say one color. I think it's kind of in between, but it's orange because it's like a little jack-o'-lantern.
Yes, correct. It's a freaking pumpkin lantern.
I know, how cute is that, huh? It's like a little pumpkin.
I was like, that's so clever.
This is another eyes question. In Tangled, what color are Flynn Rider's eyes?
Brown?
Yes.
Yay! I mean, come on. It's hard to forget Flynn Rider's eyes after you've seen his smolder. Things like that stay with you. Right, your one is, in 2001 A Space Odyssey, what is the colour of the pillar that the apes found in the opening?
Black?
Correct.
Oh god, I fell asleep trying to watch that movie so many times. Okay, this is the next level of difficulty. I just put these at the end in case you were winning so that I could win. In Black Cauldron, what color is the jewel in Terran's sword?
Oh, flip, what?
I was assuming it was fair because it glows a couple times in the movie and the sword is like the big thing besides the cauldron, which is like obviously black.
Frig, is it red?
Dang it!
Yes!
It is red!
Most things like that are red. Like, red looks really good on a sword. Right, your next one is, in The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl, what colour was
great.
Lava Girl's hair and costume?
I haven't seen that movie. God.
You've not seen posters or trailers.
I've seen pictures of Taylor Lautner in his outfit, but let's see. Purple?
Incorrect. I was tactical with this one, because when you think lava, you think of one specific colour.
It's kind of hard to guess because I haven't actually seen it. Is it... Okay. Is it red?
Incorrect. It's pink. Let me just say, the film itself, I would consider one of my guilty pleasures just because of how friggin' weird it is. It's constant nightmare fuel.
Your last one is in Peter Pan. What color is Tiger Lily's feather?
White?
Colors. What other color is it?
Colors, okay. White and blue?
No.
Red and black.
It is white. And, red?
Okay, let's wrap things up. I've been Jambareeqi, and I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Jambareeqi Sandwich. Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.
Don't have sex with wolves.